Eric Mwathe with yet another mentorship video. We're going to be taking a few minutes to discuss intraday timing. I think I haven't talked about this in terms of how you can use the 5-minute time frame to narrow down on an entry into any position. So I'm just going to take one stock here. You can use this during the day or during the course of the week to find out where you can own a stock that you are already considering to buy. So here what we are talking about is, so you want to buy a stock, whatever stock it is, XYZ, and you just want to make sure that you're not buying too high and you're buying the stock at the best technically available time period in terms of a pullback, more than likely intraday. So you don't want to chase a stock, but you want to buy it when it's a little bit off the highs, and you want a technical reason why you should place a trade at a certain point and not at another point. So let's take a stock here. It's an IPO. This is a weekly chart. I don't know what the stock does. It's immaterial, but we see that here after a couple of weeks of trading below that weekly closing high, now we are breaking out this week for the first time in the stock's trading history. Of course, because it's an IPO, we don't have enough data on the weekly, so we go to the daily for color, and the daily is also not matured enough to have data to calculate the RSI, but you can see there is a breakout above day one's trading high, so that's a nice breakout there. In fact, if I go back to the weekly, just want to talk about the fact that the weekly, after making that high during the first week of the IPO, which IPO'd here at 23, closed the week at 34, then we had 2 weeks underneath 34. So we spent this week here and then this week trading below 34, which was the highest weekly closing high, and then on week number 4 we break out. So we consider the first trading week as week number 1, and then of course this red week here is number 2. This week here, which closed below 34, which is this level here, is week number 3, and then we have a week number 4 breakout. As you know, this is the minimum requirement when you're timing a stock that is already moving. Now, had the stock moved above 34 on week number 3, then it's not a fresh breakout. It is in reality a continuation without a rest period of this initial move. Okay, but if you get 2 weeks of rest, then technically what we are saying, after you make a high and you get 2 weeks of rest, week number 1 of rest, and then week number 2 underneath this closing high there, that now if you break out any time after 2 weeks of rest, beginning with the 4th week, then we conclude that this has been a rest period. And if the stock has rested, then now it's beginning potentially another move higher. So it's very important to distinguish between just a stock moving on week number 2, week number 3, as opposed to a stock that has had enough time to calm down, rest, digest, and then break out. Those are the stocks we are looking for. So this is week number 4, as you can see. What I can do here, let's take a look at this from a closer view, so we can kind of hit home this point. So here we are. You give it 2 months. Let's go back. Let's just give it three months worth of time period. So week number 1 there, you had week number 2 rest, week number 3 rest, and then on the 4th week we broke out. So this is a fresh move from a technical standpoint. This entry here is a fresh move because we've had at least 2 weeks of rest on the weekly. Wanted to touch on that because that's very important whenever you're chasing momentum names. So we come here on the daily. The daily is also the same. We need at least 2 days of rest, and of course we've had more than 2 days of rest during this period here, and now we are breaking out, which is okay, which means the stock has digested the IPO price. IPO'd here, closed at around 34, settled down for a couple of days, about 2 weeks, and now on the 4th week breaking out. So today is also a nice entry level, but the stock is at 36, so it's about $2 above 34. 34 was the ideal entry level because it's breaking out above a prior daily closing high. We all get that. So how do you time this? This is hourly. This is now the daily. We go to the hourly, and on the hourly you can see that there's a couple of other entry levels. You got a breakout on the hourly to new RSI highs some point here. So on hindsight, we had another breakout. Let's say you can use this breakout for a breakout to all-time highs on the hourly RSI, or you can use the subsequent breakout to new highs on the hourly RSI, which is somewhere here, which also corresponds with this breakout there. So that's another nice entry. Or you can enter during this subsequent all-time high breakout, and also it's the stock's fast move above 61.8, which generated this massive amount of energy to the upside here. So those are many levels you could have looked at this, and also all these entry levels on the RSI breakout do coincide with the MACD. MACD continually breaking out also on each instant. Also the MACD, the main MACD was moving above zero. MACD also breaking out recently here. So all these things do coincide with price breakouts, RSI breakouts, and you can see the MACD breakouts. Of course, for there to be success, you want that every breakout to also coincide with the MACD breakout. For example, you can see this breakout there corresponds now with the MACD line breaking out here, new high there, which is great. And also we see that there was a slight breakout here. At least one of the MACD should be breaking out. We see another breakout that we talked about on the RSI there, corresponding with this MACD breaking out here, which is great. You want the MACD to confirm RSI move to all-time highs. We also see the same thing here. And then we talked about the other breakout on the hourly, which was also right now you can see coincides with a breakout in the MACD in both of the MACD settings. So this is why the stock has relatively done well, as you can see, because it is meeting our minimum requirements for the RSI to break out to all-time highs for an IPO, and also the MACDs to break out for an all-time high. Now the stock has done relatively okay from the first breakout. It's moved from about $31.50 all the way to the high of about 37. So we know that the weekly entry point is at about $34, which probably is somewhere around here. So about $34. So this is somewhere there is where the weekly breakout is. And so if you are using the weekly breakout, then on an hourly basis it is somewhere here, which corresponds with this entry. So now the question is, how can I time my entry? How do I know if I go long right now that the stock is not extended? Because it's $2 above 34, which is our ideal entry level. Couple of things. From a technical standpoint, if the RSI breaks out again and also has its first move above 61.8, that's also an area to consider. So what you do is you take this hourly closing high, and I call that at about $36.40 is the highest hourly close. So you can use that as an entry level. So set an alert for a breakout above that as an example, or you can set and watch it to break out above this current RSI highs. Now what I want to talk about in this video is the 5-minute window. Why? Because the 5-minute window gives you an eye into what is going on and helps you identify entry levels. So we know that over the last couple of hours, in fact starting today, which is a Monday, there was some type of a movement above this wedge. There was some type of price coming to a wedge here, and so this consolidation eventually led to a breakout. Nice entry there on an ideal basis. So if you miss that, you're looking for an entry into the stock now. Okay, it's very simple. What you do is you find out where the most recent breakout took place, which is here. This move in the RSI at about 50 is where the move began, which corresponds with that move. So we know that. So on an intraday basis, just for today and maybe for tomorrow. You draw a line corresponding with where the RSI broke out, which is this level here. And now if the stock comes here and shows uniform activity and starts moving back above the support line, then that's where you buy it. So I would say even right now at a price range of about 36, the stock is giving you possibility that it is now come back to where it broke out today here and draw a straight line. The fact that the RSI is holding there, the moment it starts moving slightly above, confirming that this has held, now you want to use that as a buy signal. If I can show you that, or show you what the MACDs are doing, you'll see that one of the MACDs is now about to move back above zero, which would be a sign of momentum. And also if this MACD can stop going down, find support around zero and start coiling to the upside like that, then you know that from an intraday basis, the MACDs and the RSI are showing support. And so you know that if you buy the stock somewhere around here at 36 and the stock eventually moves above this level we've discussed here around 50, which corresponds with this RSI breakout at the beginning of this day, then this is where you want to go long. You didn't want to go long when the RSI was trading here. You wanted to buy the stock when the RSI comes back to its breakout level, which is here. So somewhere around here I would use this for an entry level. So you can also look at it a different way. You can draw a small wedge here like this. So intraday, if you want to own the stock, the moment it starts moving above that wedge, you want to be a buyer and ask questions later. So all I'm saying here is once you figure out where a stock had started a move, let's say somewhere here, all you have to do is draw a straight line, get where this move began, and wait for the stock to come back to that level. So this is the level here. It's come back to the level, it's holding 50. So the thought process here is that you're not buying a stock that is psychologically extended, but you are buying it at the psychological point where the move began, which tends to give you a better entry point. So I hope all that makes sense. In other words, we are using symmetry and uniformity back to a critical level in the stock short term to make an entry. And so now we know if we buy the stock around here, we are not buying an extended stock. We are buying a stock that has come back to an area where previously it began the move, and the move began during this breakout here. Eric Mwade, good luck, peace, and blessings. I am out. Woo!